On a frigid January morning in 49 BC, Julius Caesar's sandals crunched the frost-coated pebbles of the Rubicon's northern bank, his legion's breath hanging white in the air as they defied Senate decree. 2 centuries later in 117 AD, Emperor Trajan surveyed Rome's marble sprawl from the Palatine Hill, his gaze stretching to maps showing imperial borders from Britannia's mists to Mesopotamia's dust. Legionaries patrolling Hadrian's wall in 122 AD shivered under wolf-pelt cloaks, their eyes scanning Caledonian forests where Pictish warriors moved like shadows. In the Forum during 180 AD, black-draped mourners choked streets upon hearing Marcus Aurelius' death, his golden equestrian statue suddenly dwarfed by uncertainty. The year of 5 emperors dawned in 193 AD with Pertinax's blood-soaking palace mosaics, his 86-day reign ending in Praetorian blades. Silver denarii clinked in Antioch's markets in 215 AD, their metal content halved since Nero's time, while merchants spat at the emperor's eroded face. Plague ravaged Alexandria in 249 AD reeked of vinegar and decay, as Galen's scrolls burned alongside corpses in mass pyres. Emperor Valerian's skin, flayed by Persian king Shapur I in 260 AD, became a macabre temple trophy in Ctesiphon's ziggurats. Diocletian's edict of 301 AD fixed wheat prices at 100 denarii per modius, yet starving peasants near Ravenna ground acorns into bitter flour. Constantine's vision at Milvian Bridge in 312 AD shimmered, Chi-Rho symbols blazing on shields as Maxentius' drowned body clogged the Tiber's current. Constantinople's founding in 330 AD diverted Egyptian grain fleets eastward, leaving Ostia's warehouses hollow as beggars' bowls. Goth refugees numbering 200,000 huddled at Danube's edge in 376 AD, their oxcots sinking in mud while Roman bureaucrats demanded weapon surrender. At Adrianople in 378 AD, Gothic cavalry trampled Emperor Valens' golden lorica into Thracian soil as afternoon sun glinted off abandoned imperial standards. Theodosius I's funeral in 395 AD split the empire between sons, 10-year-old Honorius weeping in Milan while 18-year-old Arcadius stiffened in Constantinople's purple. Stilcho's Vandal bones ached during Alpine marches in 402 AD, his foederati troops grumbling over withheld gold as Alaric's Visigoths descended like winter storms. On August 24, 410 AD, Rome's Salarian Gate groaned open, Visigoth torches casting hellish light on senatorial villas as sacred Vestal flames guttered out. North African winds carried Vandal sails toward Carthage in 429 AD, Gaisuric's 80,000 tribesmen eyeing grain stores that once fed Rome. Attila's scouts drank mare's milk on Catalonian plains in 451 AD, smelling Frankish and Roman blood soon to soak Champagne's chalky earth. Pope Leo I's trembling hand gripped a crucifix in 452 AD as he faced Attila's horsehair banners near Mantua, the Huns' eyes narrowed at omens of plague. Vandals sacked Rome for 14 days in June 455 AD, stripping gilded tiles from Jupiter's temple while Gaiseric claimed Empress Eudoxia as captive. Ricimer's Germanic blade dripped in Palatine corridors in 472 AD, Emperor Anthemius's corpse adding to 7 imperial murders in 20 turbulent years. Child Emperor Romulus Augustulus, aged 14, traced crumbling frescoes in Ravenna's palace as Odoacer's Heruli warriors massed beyond marshland defenses. On September 4, 476 AD, Odoacer's calloused hand took the imperial diadem, its pearls dull beside Romulus' tear-streaked cheeks in the silent throne room. Senator Cassiodorus unrolled papyrus in 477 AD, drafting letters that still addressed. In abandoned Britannia villas circa 500 AD, Romano-British farmers sharpened spears against Saxon longships beaching where imperial galleys once docked. Justinian's architects in Constantinople studied Vitruvius' scrolls in 532 AD, dreaming of Western reconquest while Ravenna's mosaics showed barbarian rule. Boethius scratched philosophical treatises in Pavia's dungeon in 524 AD, his ink freezing as Theodoric's executioners sharpened axes outside. Monk scribes on Skellig Michael in 540 AD dipped quills into oak gall ink, preserving Livy's histories as continental libraries burned. Roman tax collectors vanished from Gaul by 550 AD, replaced by Frankish lewd demanding payment in warhorses instead of denarii. The last senatorial decree in Rome dated 578 AD authorized basilica repairs, its parchment fraying beside empty curia benches. Lombard blacksmiths in 600 AD reforged legionary eagles into plowshares, burying broken gladi beneath northern Italy's wheatfields. In Alexandria's scriptorium circa 450 AD, Hypatia's students copied Ptolemy star charts while mobs smashed pagan statues outside. Burgundian law codes from 516 AD fined killers 300 solidi for Roman nobles but 200 for freemen, blood prices preserving old hierarchies. Ravenna's San Vitale mosaics in 547 AD depicted Justinian with Persian silk robes, his gaze fixed westward toward lost territories. Vandal shipwrights in Carthage harbor, 480 AD, caulked warships with papyrus scraps from Cicero's confiscated libraries. Frankish King Clovis baptized in Reims Cathedral 496 AD, the holy oil mixing with ancestral war paint on his fur-clad shoulders. Irish monks on Iona in 520 AD chanted Latin psalms into Atlantic gales, their voices carrying where legions never marched. Ostrogoth children in Naples 490 AD played with terra sigillata shards, ignorant of the Samnite wars depicted on red clay fragments. Constantinople's hippodrome roared in 532 AD for blues and greens charioteers, factions now battling with axes instead of betting tokens. Moorish rebels in 429 AD Numidia used abandoned centurion helmets as cooking pots, melting lead seals from imperial dispatches. Saxon shore forts crumbled into English Channel tides circa 450 AD, their signal beacons dark for decades. Pope Gelasius I declared in 494 AD that Byzantine silk merchants in 550 AD haggled over Persian prices while recalling when Roman roads brought Chinese silks directly to Palmyra. The last Roman aqueduct ceased flowing in 537 AD during Goth siege, its stagnant channels breeding malaria in Ostia's slums. Armenian chroniclers in 440 AD recorded Attila as North African olive presses fell silent after Vandal conquest, their stone weights repurposed for Germanic chieftain burial mounds in 480 AD. Roman glassmakers in Cologne fled circa 460 AD, leaving half-molten vessels in kilns as Rhine mist swallowed the frontier. Britannia's villas became sheepfolds by 500 AD, mosaic floors cracking under shepherd's crooks where triclinia once hosted symposia. The Codex Theodosianus gathered dust in Constantinople libraries after 438 AD, its 3,000 laws unenforceable beyond Adrianople. Lombard women wove Roman eagle motifs into linen tunics circa 570 AD, the embroidered birds trapped in Germanic knotwork patterns. Moorish horsemen watered steeds at Leptis Magna's ruined fountains in 550 AD, kicking through marble heads of deified emperors. Frankish law assigned 15 solidi compensation for killing a Roman landowner in 511 AD, half the price for a Frankish warrior. Byzantine historian Procopius wrote in 550 AD of Belisarius' Italian campaigns, lamenting Milan's ruins where wolves denned in forums. The Aurelian walls stood intact in 600 AD Rome, yet sheep grazed inside where senators once debated destiny. Saxon Scop poets sang of. In Ravenna's mausoleum, Theodoric's porphyry tomb, 526 AD, bore Latin inscriptions, a Germanic king resting as Caesar's shadow. Coptic monks in 450 AD Egypt buried Nag Hammadi codices in jars, fearing Roman orthodoxy more than barbarian swords. Vandal pirates intercepted Sicilian grain ships in 470 AD, selling Roman cargoes back to Naples at triple price. Gallo-Roman aristocrats in 480 AD Bordeaux served vintage Falernian wine, amphorae stamped with century-old consular dates. Ostrogoth king Theodoric dined on peacocks stuffed with dates in 520 AD Ravenna, his Germanic chiefs fumbling with Roman spoons. British chieftain Ambrosius Aurelianus rallied cavalry in 490 AD, their armor patched from 3 generations of legionary graves. Constantinople's walls held against Huns in 447 AD, but engineers counted cracks where mortar mixed with recycled pagan statues. Frankish law in 511 AD forbade Romans from carrying swords, a privilege reserved for conquerors' descendants. Moorish nomads camped in Timgod's theater circa 550 AD, their campfires blackening marble seats that once held 3,500 citizens. Pope Gregory I sent Augustinian monks to Britannia in 596 AD, their manuscripts preserving Virgil where legions failed. On Palatine Hill in 600 AD, wind whistled through Domitian's palace ruins, the same gust that once lifted Caesar's purple cloak.